Kleenex, because Houston, we have a crier, generally speaking. I get emotional.
Well, awesome. I mean, I got to, well, let's start it this way. I remember getting a phone call from someone saying, I met this person at a horse show. She has all these questions. We don't ever know who we may meet. We don't know who this stranger is that sometimes you feel compelled to patch. But here you are. And I will tell you, you are a force to be reckoned with because you saw this right away. But what was the steps that happened for you um, being introduced to this? Tell us a little bit about that.
Whew. Well, it was quite the journey beforehand. So it's before LifeWave and during and after, and still continuing. So before I had my encounter with the patches, I was in just dire straits emotionally and physically. I'd been in a support role as a community care provider for a woman that had a disease that she was unable to move. So she was completely stiff. And so I had to change her daily and move her around. And because she wasn't able to move at all, I was straining my shoulder out. So I actually injured myself on the job. And it was over time from moving her and caring for her. Now, I was in agony as I was working, but I thought, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, as we do. And until I wasn't fine. And then I had to have surgery. So at that same time, when my surgery was being booked, my father got very ill, and we expected that, we had had some good years with him because he had had some had health issues. So we were, waiting kind of for the shoe to drop, and it did. And so we were like, okay, well, we're expecting it. So I was at home with him. Well, I was actually in the hospital, got out, and 2 days later, I got the call. We're going to release your father from the hospital because he had been in for a little bit. And we knew at that point it was going to go into a palliative state with him. So I was like, wait, 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 wait. I'm the one that needs the caregiver here. I need to have a shower. You can't just phone me up and say that. I had not had a shower in days. And so my caregiver was on their way in the afternoon. So nope, I got in that shower and away I went and I got ready because I had to go and care for him. So I did. And it was a long journey. It was exhausting because I was supposed to be recovering. So through that, I wasn't getting the proper recovery. So you can imagine I was sleeping on a couch trying to recover with this injury. And then my his girlfriend was in denial, so she canceled the services. So she kept canceling the caregivers. And so I'd have to get somebody in privately, but then that would take some time. So here I am trying to maneuver and move him with this arm. So what happened is that I ended up wrecking this one too. So by the time dad, expired and we were expecting that, I was just exhausted. And you're doing the motions, you're like, I've got this, and you're like, I haven't got anything. I'm gonna get emotional. Here it comes. It's quite predictable. That's why I'm prepared. But so, going through that space, you're just like, oh, I can't move. I was at this place where like opening a jar was excruciating. And I was like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't put my arm in my coat. There was nothing I could do. And of course, you're going through all this emotional stuff. I'm back there right now. I'm living it. Thank you for being on the journey with me. But I went to this horse show. I went to my friend's house. I thought, I can't even be here. It was a month after he passed. And I went, I'm a wreck. I'm going to go get away. So I went and I got away and I went and I took my poor little decrepit body to her couch. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm still not sleeping. That's fine. But, it was at such a point where I was just like, is this as good as it gets? Like, is this my life? I was at the time 56. So that was 2 years ago. And I was like, what's the rest of it going to look like? So, I'm thinking, okay, just think positive, it's going to be fine, and you're telling yourself all these things. So we got up I went over to her place. We got up the next day and said, oh, let's go to this horse show. And I thought, oh, great, let's go. Let's do something fun. Well, it's funny when you think about where you were at to where you are now, because I can remember every move that I made was a sound. I sounded like that show, Son of a Woman, "Whoa, I'd get to go move up and I'd push myself up because I had no strength in my arms. Carrying a bag of groceries was just even impossible because I just couldn't. So we're at these bleachers, and there's all these different levels, and everybody's going up to the bleachers, and I'm trying to make my way up there. Every movement was really agonizing. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll go get a drink. So of course, oh, and I get up and I go and I come back and I sit down. And there were these two women sitting behind me, and I see one of those women here this evening, Pauline. So Pauline and Arnell were sitting behind me, and they couldn't help but notice. And I know they were there going, and that's what they were doing because they were like, I don't know. They were debating, like, there's a random stranger in front of us, and we can't help but hear her and see her. So they did. They said, excuse me. It looks like you're having a little bit of discomfort. And I said, I am in agony. I am just absolute agony. And at first I thought, oh, these women are kind, and now I think they probably were trying to shut me up, like I'd like to hear what's going on and see, but that's how loud I was, really. And you don't even really realize it. But they were so kind. And so they put the ice wave on my shoulder, and it was the tan that went here. And then they got it right. The first time they opened up that energy and they put the white one here, and it was just amazing. And I can remember that I think it was 5 seconds in, and I started to go, what is this? And I went from this little T-Rex to lifting my arm up. And my face was the look. I call it like the look, like what is happening? And I knew where I was at day after day, minute after minute. It was constant with this arm, it was for years. And with this arm, it was probably, I'd have to say, a good 4 months. But I mean, that in the world of shoulder agony, that's a long, long time, especially with your lack of sleep. So now I'm here and my brain is going, what just happened? And then this arm is moving and I'm going, "Uh, what is happening here? Like this, that's one little thing my brain couldn't compute." And I was so happy that they took a chance on a random stranger and they debated it too. It's just like, I don't know, like, so should we? And they were just compelled to help me. So I'm so grateful for that. But little did they know that I've been in something before in the past, and I'll get into that in a minute because they just thought we just want to genuinely, authentically help this person from the bottom of our hearts, and they did. And it turned out that they reversed at patching horses, and my friend's horse, the stallion's back was hurt, and the trainer couldn't ride it. So we agreed, let's get together the next day. And I'm like, well, what is this stuff? And where can I get it? And what is it? And tell me more. And I was like, oh, we'll get together with you. And I'm like, what is up with the secrecy? I need to know. I need this yesterday. So they came over, and I slept through the night. And I hadn't slept like that in so long. And I felt rested. And I woke up in the morning and I'm going, okay, this is crazy. And my brain was still going, this is crazy. So they came and they met us in the stables. And there was this horse, this stallion, and he was really aggressive because his back was sore, right? So he was nipping. And they were saying, well, I'm just going to put this Eon right here on the side of his neck, and he's going to calm down and he's going to start to soften, and he'll chomp at the bit and yawn in a minute. I'm like, well, I'm still standing over here. I'm not going near him. I like horses, but I don't know them. So sure enough, a couple minutes later, he's kind of went, and he chomped at the bit and he started to yawn. And I went, okay. And then they went over, they felt the back, and he flinched a little bit. And then Arnell said, oh, I'm going to put the tan one here and put the activator one of the ice wave over here. And then she pushed again and he flinched again. She said, oh, I just have to move that. I didn't get it right. So she moved it just over using David's clock method. She was at 12 o'clock with the activator. She moved it, I think, to 3, and then she pushed again, and the horse was fine. That horse didn't require anything else. 3 days later, the trainer rode him, and I was just in shock. So I was like, okay, I have to know about everything about this. I need to know last week, yesterday. And so what was really funny about that is that I've been involved in another company and I've been involved in quite a few, but one of them specifically was for 5 years, a health product. And the company had numerous founders, six of them. And everything kind of went to garbage. And everybody was going to do this and they were going to do that. And they changed the policies. And I have a friend of mine that was involved in that business with me that's on today, who just came on. And I've been doing this for 2 years because I didn't go back to the people that I knew. I started fresh and new with this company. But at any rate, I was never, ever doing it again. I was like, people would call me, hey, I got this thing, and hey, I found this really, and I'm just like, you will never. That was, they finished that business in 2008. So in 2022, I say, along came Polly and Pauline and Darnell, and along came Polly, and I got patched, and I'm not looking back. And so what happened was, is that I said, this is it. This is the thing. I went deep into it. I bought a diamond kit and I was telling my friends, and Canada was on fire for 6 weeks until Health Canada said, you can't have the patches because we have to do some things. You can have Ice Wave and Alavita. And I went, oh, and all of that came crashing in for a second. And I thought, okay, I had booked some of the trade shows in the Lower Mainland thinking, you know what? I want to share this with the world. And so I promptly said, we're going to stop that. I did two, but I'm just going to wait on it. And I kind of went into uh, hibernation mode a little bit, because I only had the two patches and I shared here and there. But I knew that, we needed to have the other products back in before I'd really be able to share in Canada. I know that we're global and into close to 100 countries. My market was kind of in Canada, and I kind of psychologically being in something before that kind of went irch made me go irch. And then David said, I'm going to cry on this one, okay? Because this guy's like amazing. I'm swear to God, he says, everybody who is making a check, I'm going to give you um your best week. I'm going to pay you that for the rest of time until Health Canada comes in. And that man paid me 10 months and paid me 5 figures. And I didn't really do much of anything. And I went, wow, this company is unbelievable. So it was just mind blowing. So the integrity of him, the product, everything. So I'm emotional because I find that outstanding.
Yeah.
And I just never thought that I'd find a company like this. Well, I didn't find it. It found me. Thank you, Pauline and Arno. And yeah, so it's just been amazing because I get to have this joy. I don't call it a job. It's just a joy to be able to see these miracles happening for people. I get very passionate and emotional, and I get very excited, like David does, like a little kid,
Well, and
because
I
I
and I
see this,
love
you know,
that because you just patch strangers all you just randomly go up to strangers all the time,
all the
right?
time.
All the
Oh yeah,
time.
oh
And some
yeah,
people say yes and some people say no, but that doesn't seem to stop you. I've watched you, and I mean, you've helped so many people, right? I mean, you've helped quite a few that you actually just earned one of the incentive trips with the company, and you get to go to Punta Cana. So,
I do.
that takes grit and it takes, a lot of helping a lot of people. And you did that. You got clear, you got focused, and you love it because when you see somebody the way that you have felt, you're like, you go out and you offer it. And I love it because it's very heartfelt. You're very heart-centered. So, you know, sometimes people say, well, I don't want to sell anything or I don't want to do that. I don't see that with you. I see you really open to just offering this to anyone.
Yeah, I really do because I think that it needs to be shared. Why would I keep it? And I've heard people, and I don't, she's not on the call tonight, but I've heard somebody say, I mentioned to three different people, wow, I found this thing. And they said, I found it. And they're like, why would you not share with me? And that's what always comes into my head. And I think if Pauline and Arnell had not shared with me, I would have been back in that state I mean, it's 2 years later. If LifeWave hadn't have found me, maybe I would have stumbled upon it. Maybe it wouldn't have been the same situation. Or maybe I wouldn't have met somebody who explained it to me and I would have thought, I don't know. Maybe I've tried everything. And that's what we hear a lot. I've tried everything. And that's when, what's funny is when people do that, I get this look, I'm like, oh, really? And I go, oh, okay, you're creepy. Get back there because you see that it's like it helps so many people. And I have to say, don't be creepy, because you can get so excited. I mean, my financial guy came over with his wife and he's had chronic back issues for 50 years. And within a minute and a half with Ice Wave, he was bending his down going, Dad, what I can do. He was like this little kid, and it just keeps happening and happening. And, I just wanted to say there was never too late. That's what you had said. It is never too late because, this is where people go, I'll just live with it. It's fine. I'm so used to it. There's a better way. We don't have to be in that space. And, one of the things that I vow that I won't do is I'm not going to prejudge anybody. Pauline didn't know. Pauline didn't know that I was like, don't come near me with another MLM because people have been calling and I am not. I She just knew she was going to help me and if I was open to it. And yeah, in that moment, that product spoke so loud. I was screaming, how do I deny that? Right. Then I start looking at the company. Then David says, let me pay you. And I'm like, okay. So when it came back in Canada, oh, you bet. I was right there. I was saying this man has such integrity and what he's done with the comp plan to help us and what he's doing with his company is unbelievable, let alone the science behind it. And
Mhm.
I'm so proud of this company. And it's I have to watch myself though. I have to rein myself, my passion in because when people are like, I don't know if I feel, I kind of feel this way. I don't know if I should share. And I just want to be like, why don't I call with Pauline and I? Listen.
Yeah. No, thank you so much, Lisa. And yeah, there's some really big things happening. So what I want to do at this point is thanks for being vulnerable and really sharing the depth of your story. It's not easy. And like you look back to where you were to where you are now, that's phenomenal. I love it. I love it. So thank
And I
you.
get to do this in Punta Cana. Hey,
That's
how's it
right.
going? I get to move my
Yeah.
arms, right?
Yeah. Women. Absolutely. So let's open it up for questions. And I know that Pauline, you've got your hand up. I'm going to unpin and just get my face out of there. But yeah, Pauline, do you have?
Hi, everyone. I just want to share, Lisa. Oh my gosh. So, I went to this horse show that I didn't even expect to go to because it was a horse that I had owned with my husband who'd passed away. So it was emotional for me. So I brought my patches for me and the horse, and I had them on me.